What's up, family? Welcome back to another episode of the Daglite Podcast here at the Dean Aguilar Group in San Diego, California, with your host, as always, Louis Pisano, with a very dear friend of mine, an incredible human being, and a star of today's show that I can't wait to talk about, Miss Sarah Meester.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be back, Louis.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you back.
Yeah.
It's been about a year, and there's a lot for us to talk about, a lot to catch up on, and a lot of fun to be had on the show today.
100%. I can't believe it's already been a year.
I know. Yeah,
That's wild.
It's intense. It's funny to kind of think back on kind of where we were a year ago with how productions changed and the whole studio's changed and a lot of just change, right? And change is always good. And we finished last year with 24 episodes, and the goal is to get all the way up to 100 this year. So you are the first episode of the year.
Ooh, first and best.
Yeah, first for the best, right? So
I love it.
Stoked to have you. So let's talk a little bit about kind of how the rest of 2024 shaped out for you and kind of like some of the highlights.
Yeah, so I mean, there was a lot of learning lessons along the way, a lot of awesome things as well. Last year, I really had the opportunity to kind of hone in on being a listing agent. So that was really exciting. But that being said, things happen, all the things. So I feel like I learned a lot of lesson in regards to listing preparation and making sure everything goes as planned.
Right.
Sometimes you're at the mercy of the market, all that good stuff. So just learning to control what you can't control, I guess.
Yeah, right. And it's funny. I think we talked about it before. We try to control so many things, but there's very few things we can't control. And in an industry like real estate, one of the things we can't control is how the market fluctuates. We can't make people sell. We can't make people buy. All we can do is help make people make the best educated decisions for themselves, which you've done a great job at, right? And obviously last year talked a little bit about, you mentioned becoming a little bit more on the listing agent side. What are the couple of factors that kind of allowed you to do that instead of more buyers last year?
Right. I mean, well, what's so wonderful about being on this team, of course, we're provided with the Zillow seller program. So I had an influx of leads there. I had a few clients that I met through Instagram, was really great for getting me a few listings here and there.
And that's huge. I want to touch on that because your social media presence your game has improved immensely, and you do put a lot of emphasis and work into social media and trying to showcase who you are as a person, as a realtor, your relationship, your lifestyle, your real estate career, which is absolutely crushing it. Talk a little bit about that process of, what about social media and kind of how that process has went for you in terms of obtaining some of those clients.
I mean, it's just consistency, right? And a lot of people are really concerned about showing up on the platform and maybe being a little bit embarrassed. Of course, there's some stuff I post, I'm like, whoa, this is so cringy. Like, I can't believe I'm even pressing send or next, posting that. So, I mean, really just trying to be comfortable with being outside of the box and letting people see glimpses of your personality is really important too, because there's quite a few people that I actually idolize that I follow on Instagram.
Who are they? Call them out. Let's call them out.
Well, of course, Shannon Gillette. Everyone likes Shannon Gillette. Lindsay Bruhan as well. She's really good as well. And I think what's cool about her is she's really good at showcasing her personality. I mean, she posts pictures in Ibiza. She posts compilations of her traveling the world. Like, it's not all real estate related. And I think that really resonated with me because at the end of the day, if you're on Instagram, you want to be attracting the people that you want to work with. And I think that was a really good tip that actually she gave on her page is don't worry about how you show up, be yourself, because you're going to attract the people that are like you and enjoy your content.
And that's with everything in life, right? We talk so much about, showing up as your true self and just kind of being authentic and vulnerable. And that's what we talk a lot about on the show and what we try to showcase, right? So when it comes to those components, and we know how both of us are on social media, is that we are very authentic. And, it's the realtors that the only thing that they're posting are flyers or like a real estate video are the ones that get less and less business, right? There's strategy and intent around everything where you can be successful. But we can all agree that the ones that do showcase more of who they are, what their life is like, are the ones that are going to attract clients or even potential clients down the road or in the moment, right? And you've done a tremendous job at doing that. So from like a social media perspective, what has been the biggest benefit other than getting clients, and where do you see that translating to your business for 2025?
Honestly, what's been great is at least planting the seed. I mean, I'm obnoxious with it, right? Like everyone who I've ever known knows I'm a realtor because of my Instagram
Right,
page. So I think just having that recognition where even if it's not right now business, it's business where they're going to call me in 5 years because
right.
I've shoved it down their throat so many times that I'm available and I'm working and I'm doing all the things. So, I mean, yeah, in regards to that, I would definitely say
Yeah.
that that's a good point.
And in regards to your content, it's not so much like, hey, this is why you should call me. Hey, I'm your girl. It's more so like, hey, do you guys want to know about this? It's educational, it's informative, while opening the door of like, hey, I'm also super fucking fun. So I'd probably be a good fit for you and your personality. It's not, there's a lot of people that shove down your throat. This is why you need to work with me as your realtor. That's the annoying shit.
Right.
When it comes to your content, you're obviously showcasing who you are that attracts people to one, your energy, and two, the knowledge that you share.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. This year, I'm definitely trying to continually improve.
Hmm.
So that's one of my goals this year
Yeah,
to just continually go up the ladder. So,
love it. Well,
yeah.
let's talk more goals for 2025, right? In regards to the industry changes that we saw over 4 months ago now, which now it's the norm. It's been adopted, right? It's
Yeah.
kind of out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. It's more so very natural. What are some things you are looking forward to in 2025 with your business?
Well, now that that's all over, and to be honest, nothing's really
Of
changed.
course.
So I think having that little freak out was a little bit premature because it's pretty much been business as usual. Would you say
Yeah,
so?
100%.
Yeah, so that's been awesome. But in regards to this year, I'm just really, I feel like I have a lot more knowledge in my tool belt and I'm going to be able to utilize it so much more in
Hmm.
turn, attracting more clients, doing more business, all the things. So that's something I'm really excited about.
Okay. And
Yeah.
what about personal? Like, what are some big goals for Sarah outside of real estate?
Ooh, okay. So this is my number one. And this
Let's
is
hear it.
mainly because I was just feeling like shit, honestly. Sugar. I need to cut sugar. I'm so sick of it. Sugar and caffeine, hold me to it. If you see me with the Starbucks, literally knock it out of my hands.
Okay.
Like, I'm just tired of feeling like crap.
Right.
And what's kind of interesting is when COVID happened, I got really into fitness, all the things. Obviously, things have shifted a little bit. My
Hmm.
life's gotten a little bit busier. Whatever, falling back a little bit on that. But I just miss feeling the feeling of eating clean and not
Just
having
feeling
sugar.
refreshed.
Exactly. So I think that that's like my number one, but mainly it's just because I think I stress myself out so much and I think sugar and caffeine doesn't help. So it's all compass,
Right.
right? So
It just compounds with the anxiety and stress and kind of thinking a million miles an hour and just kind of running rampant in your own head all day long.
exactly. So I think getting that under control and making sure I'm taking care of myself and then also making sure I'm doing things outdoors and making sure I'm touching grass, traveling, all of the things that I personally loved before I got into real estate. I just don't want to lose myself. I know
Yeah.
sometimes this business can eat you up
Yep.
and
And
it's
spit you right out.
lovely, but I miss being me, if that makes sense.
I hear you. And I was in that same scenario going into last year. And going into last year, I promised myself that 2024 would be the year that I finally get back to experiencing life and living life. And I took a solo trip to Spain, got back into snowboarding. I did all these couple little mini trips. Like it was just more about like living life again. So I was just in that same position as you a year ago where 2021, 22, 23, real estate just ate me up and spit me out because all I focused on was real estate. And I started to lose sight of what my life was like other than the workout because I've always been into working out. And I'm glad you brought up the sugar thing because it's definitely important to notate that, like, hey, it plays a large part in your health. And the way you're operating a business where you're, managing dozens of clients at a time, managing a huge business and probably going to do 30, 40 deals this year, right?
Yes, we hope so.
You're going to fucking crush that.
That'd be awesome.
Health is wealth. So
Right.
staying at the top of that health game is definitely important, especially with where you're at in life, being 25 years old.
No, I wish. Don't mess with me like that. I'm pushing 30. It's highly unfortunate, but I'm
Pushing
almost
30.
there.
30 was the
Yes.
best year of my life.
That's awesome. Honestly, that's what I've heard. And to be honest with you, I make a comment, a negative comment about pushing 30, but I think I'm starting to get a little bit excited. And I've heard that 30s are your best years. You're sure of yourself. You typically have a little bit more money. So
Typically.
yeah, typically. So hoping for all the good things.
30 was the best year of my life.
Yeah. Tell me why.
31 was the worst year of my life.
Oh shit.
32, 33, a little bit on the come up, but about to be 34 in a couple months, and this is going to be the best year of my life. I already feel it. But I'll let you live through your 30s first and kind of and see how it goes. So there's definitely a lot to look forward to, right? The future looks bright, not only for you as an individual, for us as a team. What are some of the biggest takeaways from last year that's helping you into this year?
Oh my gosh. I mean, probably my number one is don't count deals before they hatch because
Don't cash checks that aren't closed.
mid-year I was so cocky and I was like, oh, I have this much that's going to close in volume by the end of the year. So I kind of took my gas off the pedal just a tad.
Your foot off the gas.
Foot off the gas. Embarrassing. But I did do that. And I think that was a big learning lesson because if it's not in escrow, if it's not closed, it's anything can happen, right? You could get that call that morning, the buyer that you've shown for 6 months, and you think it's a sure shot.
Yep.
And they could be like, you know what? Something happened yesterday. We decided that we're doing a lease for the next year. Bon voyage. So
and then you gotta wait. And it's funny that you're bringing that up because so many times people just see the highlight reel like, oh, they sold another house. It must be so easy. We can show clients for a year without getting paid a single dime for them to end up in that scenario or moving out of state without us even knowing.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, to everyone watching, good luck selling real estate. Go get your license and tell me how it is.
Unfortunately, not selling Sunset.
Yeah, it's not that bullshit.
Yeah.
It's not HGTV. It's, it's not like it was in 2021, right? Now it requires a lot of skill, requires a lot of patience, requires a lot of grace, requires a lot of losing with grace, and just requires a lot of perspective, right? Things can change in one way or another, in one direction or another in the blink of an eye. And just myself, I had a surefire thing, a $1.4 million escrow, quick cash, 30-day escrow because of other circumstances where it made extreme sense for both parties, my clients specifically, or they were going to have a big family compound, but things didn't work out due to unforeseen events. And, it is what it is. Is it disappointing that we don't get to the finish line? Yeah, 100%. But is it understandable? It happens, right? There's nothing we can do at the end of the day. Going back to the control component, we can only control what we can control, right? There's other factors that come into play. We can never force someone to buy or sell. And at the end of the day, we just got to kind of take the punches and keep on rolling with it.
100%.
That's it.
Yeah, I think it's just important to, no matter what, just keep the ball rolling and make sure you're having an influx of people because you never know when an emergency happens. And of course, number one is our client. So as long as they're happy doing plan B, that's fine with me as well. But we have to make sure we're good too. So got to make sure we're talking to other folks.
Yeah, you got to pay the bills, right? Living in SoCal. And that's important too, right? Like, especially when it comes to new agents, we talk a lot about like making sure you always have more in the tank. You got to have a pipeline. So what are a couple things that you do to make sure that your pipeline is always full to where if a buyer or seller decides to cancel and they're no longer they're no longer in the game, what is your process of making sure you always have more clients down the road or in the current pipeline?
Yeah, so I think we're really lucky because we constantly have leads calling us at DAG through Zillow. So we have the seller leads. We also have the buyer leads. Honestly, just not taking my foot off the...
There you go. Foot off the gas.
We can put that in the bloopers. My foot off the gas in regards to answering my phone because I think like when I started slipping was when I was like getting cocky. I'm like, oh, I have my SOI, my sphere of influence and all the things. I don't need to be answering these phone calls right now. And so just having the mindset of constantly making sure that new people are coming in. I mean, I do open houses. Social media is great, as I mentioned, for just staying top of mind and having conversations, doing buyers consultations, all the things. So I would say, so those are probably my top three. I know this year I really do want to implement farming and door knocking a little bit more within my neighborhood and being strategic about that.
Right. Yeah. No, that's super important, right? Because all these different pillars to have different business. A lot of times people focus on, hey, I'm only SOI heavy, or hey, I'm only a buyer's agent, or hey, I'm only a listing agent. This isn't the 90s, 2000s, 2010s. You can't specialize in just one thing. If you've been in the business for 30, 40 years where you have that continuous pipeline flow, sure. But anyone that's 10 years or less in the industry, you should have at least 3 to 4 pillars.
100%.
And that's the only way that you're going to make it out alive in this industry, especially in San Diego.
I absolutely agree.
What was your favorite thing that you saw? Okay, let me rephrase it. So, looking back to 2024,
Yeah.
what was something team related that excited you and got you amped up going into 2025?
I mean, honestly, we're so blessed because we have so many trainings. Like next week's going to be pretty much like a mini hell week, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be
So
intense.
we're gonna have all of these different trainings, which is super exciting. I mean, for me, I love coming to role play. I love being in office. I love hearing what other agents are doing to succeed. So anytime we have trainings, I'm in. So I'm super excited about that for the team itself. It's been pretty amazing. I've been here for what, 2 or 3 years,
Going
into
on
my
3,
third
yeah,
year, which is a really long
it's
time,
intense.
honestly. And seeing how the team has grown, the new office. I think when I was on the team, we started at 90 people and now we're at 120. So we're growing like
Yeah,
wildfire, and I'm really proud of everything that Dean and Afro have created. So it's
yeah,
been awesome.
it's definitely been incredible to see. When I joined the team, March, technically January of 2021, but officially March of 2021, I was a 20th agent.
Wild.
And when I took over the director of growth role back in February of 2022, we were at 45, and we grew to 130 in 10 months. And that was just intense, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, during a time when there's a lot more going on in the market, and we fluctuate over the last couple of years, but we're in that 115 to 120 range, and we don't have a number set to it of how many agents we want to get to. We just have that big term goal of transactions and volume and what we want to do for families in San Diego. So,
Right.
speaking of goals,
Yeah.
for 2025, it's weird to even say that we're in that year. What are your goals for 2025 in real estate?
Oh my gosh. Well, honestly, I feel like last year I didn't do my goals as well.
It's all good.
But this year, I mean, because I didn't reach the numbers I wanted to last year, I kind of shrunk them down, which I know I'm not supposed to do. But I'm hoping to do 20 deals and 15 million
You mean
in closed
you're
sales.
looking forward to doing 20 deals and
Yes,
15 million in closed sales?
100%. Exactly. No, it's for sure happening. I
Yeah,
feel like it's really manageable, so
yeah,
I'm excited.
for sure. And obviously from like you have a numbers goal perspective, you have your goal of like no sugar. What is a word that you're looking at for 2025? Like that's my word to focus on.
Oh, I know this has been so prevalent in the office, but I feel like anything in this industry, like resilience, is so key.
Hmm.
And so I use that as my word. Okay. Yeah.
Is there something like life related in terms of resiliency where you kind of taken that on where it's like, okay, I know I'm resilient as fuck, so I can handle anything?
Well, I think the reason why I'm successful in real estate is because when I was in college, I had two jobs. I worked the whole time,
Hmm.
and it wasn't necessarily like I had to work very hard to get through school, all the
Right.
things. And I mean, that I think the hustle is
Yeah.
probably my number one.
Just always doing whatever you have to do to make sure you're
Yes,
where you want to
exactly.
be in
That I'm
life.
going to eat and
Yeah.
that my family's taken care of, and that, we
Yeah.
don't have to worry about anything is really important to me. But yeah, you get knocked down all the time in this industry. So I think it's a really important thing to have. You could
Hmm.
have 1,000 horrible weeks, and then your best week could be the next one.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I hear you. This is something that I do want to ask kind of with a lot of things we're looking at for this year. Everyone's got their own thoughts. So what's your prediction in real estate for 2025?
ooh, well, personally, I think it's going to be hot. Here's why. I honestly feel like a lot more people have been raising their hand recently. Like
Hmm.
I've been getting an influx of people interested in joining the market. I think rates have been, not historically high, but they've been on the higher side for quite some time now. I mean,
Hmm.
it's been since 22. So I think people are over it, and it's not like the rates are going to drop them dramatically. So I mean, if you could get in now,
Yeah.
why not?
It's a matter of people saying, "Hey, I'm tired of trying to beat the market. It's hasn't worked for 2 years," and it's
Right.
us helping educate clients or prospects that are considering it is, hey, this is what we know. These are the pros and cons. This is risk, potential reward, et cetera, et cetera. Do what you want with that information. What we're seeing, a lot of those clients are saying, hey, now is the time. I've waited for 2 years. There's no reason to wait for another 2 years.
And now it's 100K more
Yeah.
and all the things. No, I literally, my last closing, he was like, oh my gosh, I wish we would have bought in 2019
Yeah.
because we would have already had 300,000 in equity.
Yeah, and that hurts.
It hurts.
That hurts. There's
Yeah.
so many, and we all have clients like that out there. And it really does hurt. And it hurts us to the core where it's like, we don't want to be like, hey, I told you so. But it's also the same time, it's like, hey, listen, I told you what could potentially
Yeah.
happen and what's realistic. You decided not to move forward with that. And as long as clients don't get upset with us that they didn't move forward, that's all good. It's your decision
Right.
not to move forward. You just have to be okay with swallowing that pill when the time comes to see how much more you're spending and how much equity you lost.
1,000%.
And that hurts.
100%. And I had to use that with my partner too. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm very well versed in, in the whole equity thing.
And he purchased when again?
So he purchased last year, December. So we just had our home anniversary not too long ago.
Already a year?
Already a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's intense.
But he was pretty emotional, and I kind of told him, I was like, well, when you were looking and you were pre-approved in 2019, that same condo would have been $300,000. And
more.
300,000 less in 2019.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So now we're 300K more, and that kind of whipped him into shape.
Yep.
Yeah.
So potentially would have had 300K in equity.
100%. So shoulda, coulda, woulda.
We can play,
but we're here now.
That's it. We can play that shoulda, coulda, woulda game all day. But at the end of the day, we make the best decisions that we can with the wisdom and wherewithal that we have in the moment we make them. So in that first year, how much equity has he gained in the first year?
Oh gosh. I mean, the market's kind of been a little bit up and down. I would say a solid 15,000.
Okay. And
to 20.
Yeah, I mean, that's great.
20,
a
which
win is
much
a win.
better than just throwing away the rent each month.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, it's been good. Like, we love that we don't have anyone to answer to, not to be nerdy in regards to this, but like, it has been awesome to be like decorating our place. We don't have anyone to answer to. It's actually ours.
Yep.
Which has been really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, we'll end it with one more question.
Okay.
The best piece of advice that you received last year, and it doesn't have to be real estate related. It could be anything.
Okay, so what I would say is I was speaking with the newer girls on the team this morning, and when I first started in real estate, one of my mentors, she told me, fake it until you make it. Just pretend. And I think that that's one of the best things you can do when you're starting your own business. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Do you agree? Because it's so new when you're first starting, and there's like this crazy amount of information coming over in real estate, and you really have to learn by doing for the most part. But obviously people don't want you controlling their transaction with nothing under your belt. So it's like that struggle of, oh, I do this all the time when you're beginning, but
there's a fine line, right? Yeah. So I totally agree in terms of obviously it's like when you go to apply for a job and they want 10 years experience and you're just out of college and all these things, right? It's like your expectations don't kind of align. So I get it. I think the perspective that I've taken is always face it till you make it. And it's always one of those things like act like you've been there. Or act like you've done this before. And because oftentimes the reason why I try to stay away from the phrase fake it till you make it is because a lot of times people can sniff out you lying and being fake about it. Now, there's a lot of people that put on a front. I'm not saying you've ever done that. I agree with the approach that you've taken.
It's more of a confidence
100%. Yeah. 100%, because when you've run with it, you've gotten to where you are now because you've done it that exact way when you started. There are some people that take it literally, and they will literally lie through their fucking teeth to get clients.
Yeah, no.
With those people, gotta stay away from the fake it till you make it.
Absolutely not. We're not going to do that.
No, but in terms of the delivery of confidence and going and carrying yourself in a manner of which you've been doing this, 100% agree.
Beautiful.
Definitely align with that.
Me too. I love it.
I can't thank you enough for having you on for the second time. The first guest that's been on for the second time so far. I'm pretty sure you're episode 25 to kick off 2025.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so good luck.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great fucking year.
Awesome, it really is.
Love it. I appreciate you jumping on. I appreciate you guys for checking out another episode of the Dag Life Podcast. See you next time.